chapter, our environment. So we have to understand the various components of the chapter, our environment, first of all. Then we will be talking about the various problems related with that. And then we will be discussing about the solutions. We talk about that what is the environment? It's the immediate surrounding where we live. All the surroundings which are around us, where we stay, where we live, it's all termed as environment. This environment has two basic components. One is abiotic factor and one is biotic component. We have to understand what is abiotic and biotic. Abiotic components are those components which are non-living, like that is air, earth, soil, water. Air, soil, water, which make up the different components of this environment. If we talk about the air, it's the atmosphere. If I talk about the soil, then it will be called as lithosphere. And if I talk about the water, then it's called as hydrosphere. All these non-living components are together termed as abiotic components of the environment, and the living components, that is the plants and the animals or flora and fauna on the planet Earth, that is what we call as the biotic factor. Okay, now we have to describe about the environment. We have already discussed about that. The what is environment? That is the immediate surroundings, right? There are various components of the planet, that components of our environment. They are the biotic and abiotic. And now we have to understand the what's meant by the ecosystem is where there is the constant interaction between the biotic and abiotic components, where the components of the environment interact with each other. That system which is self-sufficient, that system we call as the ecosystem. Or ecosystem can be defined as the interaction of organism with each other, or interaction of both biotic and abiotic components of the environment, that which is a self-sufficient system, that system we call as ecosystem. For example, if we talk about a plant interact with soil to get the nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and other mineral from the soil. Unless and until you will not water the plant, or if there will not be the rain or the moisture content present in the soil, it will not be possible for a plant to grow. In the same manner, sunlight also plays a role in it. So where there is the constant interaction, once again when the plant will grow, after the plant will die, it will once again go back to the soil. Microorganism will act up over it, so that the protein which is confined in the body will get converted into nitrogen and will get converted into ammonia, and then nitrification will take place, and once again the soil will be enriched with the various nutrients, which again will be taken up by the plant. So it's a constant interaction between the biotic and the abiotic components which make up the ecosystem. So ecosystem is an open system which requires a regular input of energy and circulation of material. All type of ecosystem has a cycling exchange of material between the living and the non-living components. Okay, now we are, as I've told you, that there are the various components of this ecosystem. The components of the ecosystem are the biotic one and the abiotic one. The living components are defined as like the plants and the organisms which are present in the ecosystem, and the non-living components like sunlight, soil, etc., they will be termed as the abiotic components. If I talk about the uh, if I talk about the biotic components, the biotic components, like I have told you, the living components, plants, animal, microorganism, they can be broadly categorized into three different groups. These components of the ecosystem, that is the biotic ecosystem, can be broadly categorized into three different groups, which can be termed as producers, consumer, and decomposers. The component which make up the ecosystem is the biotic one, and the biotic components can be categorized into producer, consumer, and decomposer. Now, whom we call as producers? The autotrophs, those who manufacture their own food, those who synthesize their own food with the help of the abiotic components. They are called as producers. What is the role of these producers? The role of these producers is to trap the solar energy and transform it into chemical energy. But the transformation cannot be achieved without the involvement of the abiotic factors. Right? They are the primary source. Now, what is the they are the primary source of energy for all the different components of the ecosystem. Now, consumers are those who depend upon producers for their food. Producers are the one who synthesize their own food with the help of the abiotic component as well as the sunlight, which they trap and convert into chemical energy. Now, consumers are the one which depend upon other organism, like they depend upon the producers so that they can get the energy. There should be the flow of energy. So we can say consumers consume the food which is being prepared by the producers. All animals, whether they directly take up the plant or indirectly consume the plant producers, but they are the one who depend upon the producers for their food. Now let me tell you, these consumers can broadly be classified into three type of consumer. One is herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. Herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. Now, what are herbivorous? Herbivorous are those who take up the plants. They feed on the plants only. They can also be called as primary consumer because they directly take up the autotrophs, so that's why they can be called as primary consumer, right? For example, rabbit, deer, mice, goat, etc., these are all called as primary consumers. Even the seed eating birds, they are also the primary consumers because they directly take up the autotrophs. Then there are carnivorous. Carnivorous are the one who depend on the primary consumers for their food. That is, they don't consume the autotrophs directly. They consume the flesh of the primary consumers. So that is why The carnivorous are also called as, they are called as secondary consumers, because they don't take up, carnivores are those who take up the flesh or meat as their food. It means that they don't directly take up the autotrophs. They take up they get the energy from the primary consumer by consuming the primary consumers. By consuming the herbivorous one, they get their energy. Right? Now there are the, so that's why these they are called as secondary consumers, right? Why? Because they take up their prey. Take up the uh, they take up that the primary consumer. They don't directly take up the autotroph. Then there are omnivorous. Omnivorous are the one who can feed themselves with plants as well as flesh of the other animal. They can feed themselves, right? Like humans. Humans are the one who can eat both. We can the one we can feed ourselves on the plants as well as on the flesh of other animals, right? Now, what is the role of the consumer? The role of consumer in the environment is, or in the ecosystem is, that they keep a check on the population of the producers at different level of consumers. Now, what is the scavengers? Scavengers eat the body of dead animal. Who are known as scavengers? Scavengers are the one which feed themselves on the flesh of other animal, but they don't directly take up the fresh one. They eat up that meat which is the rotten one, right? So scavengers are those, they are also consumers, but they don't consume the consumer directly. They take up the rotten one, which is for the, you can say somehow, scavengers are the one who depend on the dead organism, decaying, dead and decaying organism for their food. Now we have to understand the role of third component, which is decomposer. They are the most important components of this planet, and microorganisms. They cannot be seen with the naked eye. They are the one who are microorganism, who are also the component of the ecosystem, but they are not visible to us. They are the one which are bacteria and fungi. Those who break down the complex organic compounds from the bodies of dead animal, decaying remains of the plants and facial matters of the animal and simple inorganic. They change them into, they help in decaying, they help in decomposing of all the of all the remains of the consumers as well as of the producers. They are the one which is also called as transformers, because they are the one who disintegrate the organic substances into inorganic, and thus help in enhancing and returning it back to the soil, and thus help in enhancing the fertility of the soil. So that's why we can also called as decomposers. They are also called as transformers because they play a very important role in maintaining the dynamic nature of the ecosystem. So role of the decomposer is that they are also called as cleansing agents of this environment. because it is because of these animals only, it is because of the decomposers only that we don't see the heaps of the debris of the producers and consumers on this planet Earth. They help in recycling of the material. They also help in enhancing the fertility of the soil. If there are no decomposer, let me tell you, it will the earth will look like the heap of the garbage which is being created because of the consumer and the producers. Although we see the heap of garbage around us, let me tell you that generally consumers are not able to convert that heap which is man-made, the garbage which is the man-made one, they are not able to consume it. Otherwise, all the organic substances, whatever is there, whether it is the remnant of the consumer or whether it's the remnant of the producer, they are able to degrade it, they are able to break it down, they are able to disintegrate it, and then mix it with the soil, change it into inorganic components, and also then mixing with the soil, and thus enhancing, even sometimes returning back to the environment. Also the various components, they also return back to the environment, like denitrifying bacteria. Denitrifying bacteria help in the denitrification process. They convert the nitrates into free nitrogen. So each and every component of this biotic world has a role to play, and the most important role which is being played to keep this environment, to keep our earth clean and fresh, is the role which is being played by those animals which are not even visible to our naked eye, and that is what we call as decomposers. So producers are the one who synthesize their own food by the process of photosynthesis, and consumers are the one who depend upon, either directly or indirectly, to the producers for their food. Right? It's that they can synthesize their food on their own, whereas they will not be, consumers will not be able to synthesize their own food. So now let's discuss about the next component of this chapter, and that is what we call as food chain. The abiotic components. Abiotic components are the, and where there is the interaction between the two, that is what we call as ecosystem. Abiotic, as we have already discussed about the non-living components like air, water, soil, mineral. It's because of these components only that the life has been able to flourish on this planet. Otherwise, it was not possible. Although on the various other planets also there are, out of these non-living components, certain components are present on those planets, but it's the earth only that it has all the abiotic components present in the right proportion. That is why life has been able to flourish on the planet Earth. Now next, which is our topic, is the next one is the food. Let me tell you what is a food chain. Food chain, in simple words, if we want to describe it, it is the way, it is the who eats whom, is the relation which shows that who eats whom. But if we have to give it a proper definition, it will be like that: the flow of energy from one organism to the next. So let me tell you that if we want to describe food chain in the most simplest manner, it is that who eats whom. It gives us the idea about that who eats whom. And let me tell you, all the food chains generally start with the producer. Producers are eaten by herbivorous. So herbivorous will be called as the primary consumer. All the food chains start with the producers, then producers are eaten by the herbivorous, so they will be called as primary consumers. There are carnivorous animals also. What is their place in this food chain? Carnivorous animals are those who feed on the flesh of the herbivorous. So we can call the carnivorous as secondary consumers. Even there are tertiary consumers also. Now, what are the tertiary consumers that we can discuss about? Because there are different. There is not a simple food chain which consists of the just two step or three step or four. There are multiple food chains. So a chain can have basically different levels. So a food chain which consists of the three step food chain. There can be even two-step food chain. There can be four-step food chain as well as there can be five-step food chain, but not more than five-step food chain. Five-step food chain is the last one. Why there will be the last one, that we will be discussing later on. But first of all, we have to understand that why we call it a food chain. A food chain is basically how the energy goes from one trophic level to another, one primary consumer level, one consumer level to another consumer level. And I have told you that every food chain starts with the producer. So we can say that in a food chain, basically there are the three components. One is producer, consumer, and then secondary consumers. Primary consumer and secondary consumer. If I talk about that, there are the two-step food chain. Is there two-step food chain? Yes, there is the two-step food chain where producers and only herbivorous animals are involved. Where producer and herbivorous are involved, and to keep the check on such herbivorous animals, they don't breed in tula. Their breeding take place. So nature keep a check on their population. Like if I talk about plants, plants are the autotrophs. If I talk about the two-step food chain, here I can give you the example of just two-step food chain where only producer and consumer is involved, and consumer is also herbivorous. No carnivorous is finding its place in this food chain. Let me tell you, that is plants which are eaten by the animals, the bigger herbivores. And who keeps the check on the population of the elephants? It's the nature keep a check on the population because they are breeding, because their incubating time or rather gestation period is too long, and they don't give too many, they don't produce too many species, too many number of progenies at the same time. At the same time, they can give only birth to just one progeny. But if we talk about the other animals like dog, or so they can give, there can be multiple number of, they can give. Okay, so here I was discussing about the two-step food chain where no carnivorous animal is involved, and I was talking about the producer as well as the example of that is plant and elephant. Okay, now three-step food chain. Three-step food chain is where there are so many three-step food chain, like grass is eaten by deer and deer is consumed by lion. So this is producer, primary consumer, and secondary consumer. This is three-step food chain, right? Then there is four-step food chain. Four-step food chain is example of four-step food chain. Let me tell you, is the Every food chain start with the autotrophs, that is the grass is eaten by insect. So insect is the primary consumer here. Sorry. Insect in turn is eaten by frog. Frog is the secondary consumer. And frog in turn is eaten by snake, which is a tertiary consumer. So insect is the herbivorous, frog is the carnivorous, as well as snake is the carnivorous. But this is the primary consumer, this is secondary consumer, and this is tertiary consumer, and it is the four-step food chain. Then I was talking about the fifth step food chain, five-step food chain. Five-step food chain example is that grass is eaten by insect, primary consumer. Then it's eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake. And snake in turn is eaten by peacock, or it can be eaten by hawk. Alright? Or there can be the eagles which can eat this. So maximum in a food chain, 5 steps can be there. Right? Why that we will discuss once we discuss about the 10% law. But before we discuss that, we have to understand the various components of the food chain. So all the food chain starts with the producer, right? And then there are the herbivorous animal, which can be described as the primary consumer. Then there can be the one which are described as the one which eat the flesh of the other primary consumers. So they can be called as secondary consumer, and then there can be the tertiary consumers also. Okay. So next we have to discuss about the food web. So you can see here there are the different food chains. There are the grassland food chain, there are the wetland food chain also. So you can say that all the food chain. If I talk about the ocean food chain, there are the food chains which are present in the water also. It's not that they are the grassland food chain only. There are the which are present in the oceans. Like in the ocean, the food chain can also be of not more than 5 steps. Oceans may there is the food chain can start with the phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons are those which are not visible to our naked eye. Like there can be algae. It's a microorganism which is which just look like a plant. It's a microscopic plant, let me tell you. So that phytoplankton is eaten by zooplanktons. Zooplanktons are the amoeba. Amoeba is an organism, is a single cell organism which is sustained on its own. But amoeba is not a producer. Amoeba is a consumer. But what type of consumer? It's a primary consumer. So the food chain which can be there in the water, which can start with the phytoplanktons, then it can be phytoplanktons are eaten by the zooplanktons, and zooplanktons are eaten by the small fish. In turn, they can be eaten by the big fishes like seal. Seal can be eaten by the whale. So this is how the food chain can be present in the water also. But it is not necessary that the whale will always be present. For example, if we are having freshwater food chain, there are the one bigger fishes, which always keeps a check on the population of the smaller one. So The food chain in the water can start with the phytoplanktons, then it can have the zooplanktons, it can have the fish. There are other also other grassland chains also like alligators